You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. This is Ken, and I'm here in the studio with Jeff and Neil. How you guys doing?
Good morrow.
Good.
And as per usual, over the internet, we have the man who made reliable Democratic voter Ken Bone think twice. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I forgot what the studio looked like. I hadn't seen you guys in so long.
Yeah, it's been a while. We were on a little recording break, though. If the podcast magic worked, hopefully you were not able to tell there at home.
But
so.
you'll be able to tell by how
week.
rusty we all are.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, right. It's been 6 years.
Not quite.
Not quite.
A couple months. Took a little break for the holidays. It was good. Any changes in your lives?
Sliced my finger. Our laundry room was filled with sewage. Other than that,
Anything good?
No.
Nice. My laundry room's backing up as we speak.
Yeah.
Not sewage, but
Hopefully all of us will back up.
My laundry is neatly folded and in the dresser. So.
No, nothing good. But I'm happy to be back. 'Cause this is what's making me happy is I get to hang out with all of you. So
there you go.
Yep. Life is a never-ending misery. All right, continue.
But thankfully, we have some people that we can hang out with today that are going to be a lot of fun because we don't want to be talking about sewage and other bad things. But we'd love to introduce our guest host today.
Welcome back to Sewage Talk.
Welcome back. Make sure you get your bleach. We're excited to introduce from Southern California, coming to us from the Orange County area, Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon, Blake. How are you, Blake?
Doing well.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So as stated, my name is Blake. I come from SoCal. I work as a tax verification clerk and play a lot of board games and trivia in my free time. I also occasionally will write about board games because I stopped writing about music because I figured out I actually dislike most of it. But on one of the sites that I wrote for, they did a podcast called Trailer Trashed in which they would get smashed drinking alcohol and watch trailers and react to them. And the one episode I was on was called Cream of the Crop in a bizarre coincidence.
Nice. That's great. And before we get started today, for the people who don't play board games or are interested, is there one board game that you'd recommend for someone to start out with?
To start out with, as I look at my shelves, if you don't mind facing against one another, Azul is beautiful and people are attracted to the way it looks, but that one can also be quite mean, so that scares people off. If you're afraid of that one and you want something that's not as confrontational, Reef, which is part of the same line, is also a very beautiful, very tactile game where you're building up stacks of coral, and that's a good one if you're put off by people messing with your stuff in Azul.
Awesome. Well, Azul and Reef, we appreciate the recommendation. And speaking of a great recommendation, we're so excited to have our guest here. Going to be partnering with Matt, coming to us from Seattle, another Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon. We really appreciate that. Melanie Hall, how are you, Melanie?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Well, thank you for joining us. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Melanie. I am from the Seattle, Washington area. I work in fleet management at a transportation company. And yeah, big fan of trivia. I also like board games, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
Amazing. And we talked a little bit before the recording, but you've been listening for about 5 years, I think you said. So thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah, of course.
Melanie is going to be partnering with Matt. And Matt, I think we came up with a team name for you both. Do you remember it or you want me to fill you in?
Nope, don't remember it.
Okay, well, we figured we'd give you a peek behind the curtain. Bordic inspiration.
Bardic.
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 Neil doesn't remember it either.
My son's name is also Bort.
My A looked like an O there. Yeah, Bardic inspiration. So that's gonna be your team name,
Since she's a bit of a D&D player.
Yeah, and since you both are kind of D&D players-ish, your name is also in line with D&D, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought it would be fun to be Clerical Error.
All right. Well, Clerical Error versus Bardic Inspiration with a game hosted by
Don't you hate it when
Blake?
you pray to the wrong deity on accident, Jeff?
I know. You want to pray to Tyr, and all of a sudden it's
Murder
some
and
other
mayhem.
god.
Well, we like to
You had
we
time
like to pray
think of it,
to
and that's what you came up with, Jeff. Come on.
we like to pray to our deity Darren. So let's throw it to Darren to hear the rules of life.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
Are you Carly Simon? Because nobody does it better. You're the cream of the crop.
I missed him.
Yeah, I missed Darren.
Actually, Marlar is a deity in D&D.
Is it really?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I'm going to keep score today. I'm just going to be here for color commentary, but it's going to be Clerical Era versus Bardic Inspiration. Take it away, Blake.
All right, so they say write about what you know. So this is mostly going to be music, movies, and history, because that's what I care about. Round 1, question 1. The category is going to be games. The Staunton set are the molds for the 6 types of pieces used in official competitions of what?
All right, we're going to go ahead and lock in on this one.
They locked in very quickly. I don't know what a Staunton is. Melanie, how familiar are you with these words that he said?
I also don't. I'm trying to think of like board games because if they're physical pieces.
My guess, it said like I think the base figurines is what he said.
What? I mean, how many figurines are there in chess?
So
I think there's more than 6.
Could be chess. I was thinking maybe Warhammer because that's about customizing different pieces. And I know it's kind of a game that's played with those types of characters. You want to lock in with that one?
I'm good with that. I don't know much about Warhammer.
I don't either. So we're locking in with Warhammer.
That's a good guess there. I don't know too much about it, but I think there's huge armies and a lot of different groups in Warhammer. We just think maybe that's like the standard Monopoly pieces is the Staunton set.
All right, so we have Monopoly and Warhammer. The correct answer was said, but it was not locked in. I said types of pieces, not numbers of pieces. It is chess.
Wow.
This is what the FIDE, which is the French chess acronym, this is the official set that they say you should use for chess tournaments. On to round 1, question 2. This is a geography question. With a difference of over 20 million, what country has the largest gap in population between its capital and its largest city? Though they heavily differ in population, they barely differ in name.
All right. They are locked in. So we're looking at capitals, geography. Melanie, any ideas here?
No ideas, but the second part of that is making me think. I feel like it's maybe somewhere in Africa, but I could be way off.
It's possible if we're looking at maybe Johannesburg and Cape Town. I don't know. I don't know what the sounds is. That's where I got because initially my first thought was Rio de Janeiro and Brasilia because I know Rio's just got like such a gigantic population. But I don't African capitals. Admittedly, not my expertise.
Me neither.
But if we're thinking, do you want to go with the South Africa one, Johannesburg and Cape Town?
I've got nothing better.
Okay, we're locked in.
So I don't think I'm onto the right thing here, but Ken, let me lock in. We said London. There's both London and the City of London, and the City of London is a small, tiny business district that's technically its own city within London. It's like at the dead city center, some nonsense from hundreds of years ago. So that's what we guessed. We said London.
I don't know about that. The answer was not. Sorry, I don't know about if that's true, and maybe you're right, and that could also answer this. The answer is the city. The capital city includes the word new. This is Delhi and New Delhi in India. New Delhi has a population of around 250,000. The sources for Delhi are all over the place, but some have it as much as 30 million, the total urban area.
No worries. I confirmed London's only about 15, so we weren't close enough to even bother with researching further.
You're right, though, with the London itself proper is just a very small area inside the city. Actual London.
Yeah, the city of London. Yeah.
Round 1, question 3. The category is seemingly unrelated conditions. Due to the number of blood vessels in your retina, what disease is the primary cause of blindness in adults aged 20 to 74?
I'm thinking it's not an eye disease because of the first part of the question. It's probably a blood disease.
Or like a nerve disease.
Yeah.
Could it be MS then? That would be probably the biggest
Could be
nerve disease I could think of. Because I initially was thinking glaucoma, but that doesn't always result in blindness. But I think that you're onto something with thinking about the nervous system. So I think I'm good if you're cool with locking in with MS.
Sure.
And we thought about glaucoma as well, but I think you're onto something there, Jeff.
Yeah, I know when I think of retinopathy or kind of the retina diseases, I think of diabetic retinopathy. So we guess diabetes.
Yep, diabetes affects the blood vessels in your eye, which can cause you to go blind. And it's the leading cause of blindness. It is diabetes.
Good job, Jeff. Someone's on the board. We'll take it.
All right, round 1, question 4. Your category is unusual origins. According to one theory, what polarizing 1991 hit from a legendary band takes its name from a translated Chinese propaganda poster released in the wake of the Tiananmen Square massacre?
All right, we're going to go ahead and lock in. We don't have a good idea here, so just kind of a random guess here.
Okay, so they're locked in, and I think I might have something here. How familiar are you with 1991 popular hits?
Not that familiar. I feel like I've heard this somewhere, but I can't connect it to a song.
So I think that based on the propaganda, the Tiananmen Square, it could potentially be Losing My Religion by REM.
Ooh, that's good. I love that song.
I think the time period's right, so I think we're good to lock in with that.
Like your reasoning there, Matt, we just kind of had to take a random stab here. We're going to say the legendary band was Queen, although 91 might have been a little late, and we said Radio Gaga.
I'm so sorry, Matt. You have the right band. It's Shiny Happy People. I guess the idea is that the poster was like, this is what's going on. They're all shiny, happy people. Nothing bad happened. And, yep. Very polarizing. The band, Michael Stipe hated it for a long time, and recently is like, nah, it's okay. It pays the bills.
He doesn't like any of his songs, though, so that's fair.
Round 1, question 5. Your category is lesser-known sequels. The Great Glass Elevator is the subtitle to the sequel to what children's book from 1964? The original has been adapted into film twice, with only one of those having the same title as the book.
All right, we're going to lock in on this one.
The way
Hey, Matt, I definitely know what this is.
You know this one?
Yeah, it's going to be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Wonderful. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, we also said Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
And great success. Both teams are correct. You remember the ending of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory has them taking a great glass elevator.
Well, after 5 questions, we want to forget the Tim Burton version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but what we won't forget is the scores, because we have 10 points from Bardic Inspiration and 20 points from Clerical Error.
I think I'm going to get Johnny Depp's haircut from that movie.
and the teeth and the sunglasses.
Teeth, yeah.
Just scaring children.
Hey, Roald Dahl would approve of that.
He would.
Round 1, question 6. Your category is video games. In 1996, Biohazard was released in Japan for the PlayStation. It found a home as a massive multimedia franchise, but what was Biohazard changed to in America to avoid copyright issues?
I'm 100% sure on this. If you want, we
So
can
am
lock
I.
in. Oh, we both are. Perfect. Well, we are going to lock in because we know it.
Nice. What do you think? Sonic the Hedgehog?
Biohazard.
No.
I mean, there is some Biohazard stuff in there, but that would have been earlier, right?
So release.
My apartment was a Biohazard a couple days ago.
Yeah. So released for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's an early PlayStation game. What do you think? What's some early PlayStation stuff? Twisted Metal.
It's not Final Fantasy.
Parappa the Rappa.
Parappa.
Probably.
Could be that.
It's probably that.
Crash Bandicoot.
Oh yeah, Crash.
Spyro. I'm having trouble thinking of like original PlayStation titles.
I'm having trouble thinking of a mid-90s massive multimedia franchise for PlayStation that isn't Final Fantasy.
Let's say, do you want to say Twisted Metal? There's a show now that's multimedia.
Oh, okay.
We'll say Twisted Metal.
All right. They go Twisted Metal. And Melanie, what are we saying?
This is Biohazard is also the subtitle of the 7th game, I believe. Resident Evil.
Bardic Inspiration is correct. It found a home as a massive multimedia franchise, including what was at one point the highest grossing Canadian film of all time. I don't know if it still is. It is Resident Evil.
I admit, Resident Evil is massiver and multimedia
Than Twisted Metal.
than
It's
Twisted.
a TV show now. That's multimedia, right?
It's on its way.
Well, it's two. It's two.
The film
Still
directed by
multi.
the lesser Paul Anderson.
Round 1, question 7. The category is, how can you be so dense? Name either the land mammal or the marine mammal with the densest fur for 10 points, and 5 bonus points if you name both. The land animal is a South American rodent whose fur is often used in coats, while the marine mammal has an aquatic feature in its title and is one of the only animals known to use tools.
All right, looks like clerical error is locked in. What are you guys thinking over at Bardic Inspiration?
Densest fur. What do you think, Melanie?
Well, the tools part at the end was making me think like beaver or otter. But
It said aquatic in the name, so like a sea otter would make a lot of sense.
Is that separate from a regular otter?
I think that their official name is like a sea otter, so that would lead into it. So I think that's good. And then for the land one, I think it's I know that their fur's so thick that it can't get wet. That's why they take sand baths. I think it's a chinchilla.
Oh, okay.
So sea otter and chinchilla.
Oh, very interesting. We guessed mink we know they make mink coats. And then the aquatic mammal with the sea name, we said sea lion.
Ooh.
Don't know.
We have mink and sea lion and chinchilla and sea otter. Bardic Inspiration, full points. It is the
Yeah.
chinchilla and the sea otter.
Nicely done.
The
Nice
sea
job.
otters use rocks to break open like shells and clams. That's their tool usage.
It's funny. I wrote down otter, and I was like, that doesn't have anything in the name.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I was like, oh, they use rocks. They break stuff on their stomachs. They're adorable. Love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot that they're technically sea otters.
Fit every category except for the one that we didn't think of.
Yeah.
And just in case it comes up, because someone might say this, there are river otters as well, but those are not considered marine because they live like half and half between land and water, whereas sea otters almost always live in the water.
And their fur is not nearly as dense. And they're jealous.
And with their tools, they don't make really good cell phone cases. Just the sea otters do.
I think if they use Pantene, they can get it as dense, but they don't. So
They refuse.
All right, round 1, question 8. Your category is LGBT firsts. Sarah McBride is a remarkable woman. She was the first openly trans person to speak at a major party convention, intern at the White House, and serve as a state senator. What state was McBride elected to? She is not the most important contemporary politician from this state, which is fittingly nicknamed the First State.
Yeah, we can lock in.
It was like I kind of had an idea, and then the clues kept coming, and then I was pretty sure.
And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
Melanie, do you know?
Do you know because of the quarters?
I'm familiar with her. The first part of the question made me think Delaware or Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And with the second part, I think it might be Delaware is the first state.
Yeah, and current president is also, I believe, from Delaware, went to school in Delaware, so that would make sense. So, the state that's just a little further north from me, Delaware.
He was a senator from Delaware, but he was born and raised in Scranton, PA, my friend.
Oh, that's right.
So.
Dunder Mifflin
yeah.
alum.
What would you say, Delawarean? Delanese?
Delaware.
I'm going to look that up because I'm really curious
know.
myself.
Dom Delawarean.
Anyways, we also said Delaware.
Both teams are correct. She actually worked for it's son, right? Beau Biden. She was on his staff. And Joe Biden later wrote the foreword to her memoir. It is Delaware.
And as Ken said, it is Delawareans.
And she is running for the House of Representatives, I believe, this year as well. So she could be the first trans actual senator as well. Round 1, question 9. Your category is CGI firsts. In 1995, Toy Story was the first fully computer-animated feature film. What fantasy comedy film, released the same year and based on an existing franchise, was the first feature-length movie to have a fully CGI character in the lead role?
They still look pretty good.
What, this movie? 1995? It doesn't look rough?
Not too bad, no. I just watched it recently.
1995.
Well, it's not Howard the Duck.
No, that's
No,
a real.
that
That's a
won't
real.
be
We
plastic
know that's
thing, right?
Neil's favorite film. So
All right, well, we are having trouble coming up with anything decent for this one, so we're just going to say Tammy and the T-Rex and move on.
This is so. I'm pretty sure I know this one. Do you have any idea, Melanie?
I don't. I can think of a lot of CGI companions, but no lead roles.
I believe this is a spiritual successor to Final Destination when Devon Sawa dies at the end and comes back as a friendly ghost. And I believe that this is Casper.
that's so good.
So I realize that now. I probably should have said supernatural comedy film. That is my bad if that led you astray.
No, you were right. No, you were right.
But
Don't forget Devon Sawa.
my favorite part of this film is Dan Aykroyd appearing in for the quickest cameo of all time as his Ghostbusters character to say, "Who are you going to call? Somebody
Someone
else." And he
else.
walks off screen. It is Casper.
Great movie. That's a
Ken?
movie I had on VHS, so I watched it a ton.
Can I keep you?
Bill Pullman, Christina Ricci, great movie.
I'm a human soul.
That's the reaction I would have had when Devon Sawa asked me the same thing.
I just like the farting ghosts. They're also great.
Matt's a simple man. He just needs a ghost to fart, and he's entertained.
I should rewatch that one. Though.
Eric Idle? Who's in that one?
Eric Idle's in that one, yeah.
All right, round 1, question 10. Your category is board game firsts. The Spiel des Jahres is the most prestigious award in board and card games. It was first awarded in 1979 to a racing game based on what children's fable?
Jeff,
Works
you know
for
a
me.
ton of these, don't you?
All right, Jeff's always getting credit for stuff that I'm locking
He knows
in
the
for.
board games. He's
I'm
always got a
locking
list.
in.
In the
I'm
last like
locking in.
15, 20 years.
Matt, you listen to me.
For the record, Ken did lock in by himself.
Well, Ken knows it, so definitely 100%.
Last week's episode had a brutal accreditation to Jeff, and I came up with the answer.
That's because you always lead him in and be like, Jeff, what did we say? So he gets last say.
Not true. Not true.
Not this time.
I wrote down. It was a 3-part answer. I wrote down all 3 parts of the answer on my paper, and then Neil goes, "Jeff knows a lot about geography. He probably got that." No, it wasn't about geography. It was about whaling. He goes, "Jeff knows a lot about whaling. I bet." I said, "I wrote down all 3 answers."
All right. Well, thank you for that fact. Melanie, I have no idea here, so.
I can think of one children's fable with a race, and that's The Tortoise and the Hare, and that seems like that could be a board game.
That makes a ton of sense, and I am happy to lock in with The Tortoise and the Hare.
Yeah, I think it was the best board game that year, probably. According to the awards. We said Tortoise and the Hare.
The game is called Hare and Tortoise, but any permutation of that is correct. Both teams are correct.
Hare and Tortoise. I would never get
I want to
Hare
be
and
the
Tortoise.
tortoise this time. No, I want to be the tortoise.
You're racing a bunch of different animal characters. It's not just them.
I was going to say, because from the
that case, I
premise
wanna
of
be the
that,
cheetah.
it's a solved game, right? It's just whoever picks tortoise every time.
I'm just looking this up. Apparently, the original German, it translates to for hare and hedgehog.
Oh, well, the hedgehog's the fastest. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, that's why
Well,
that
didn't
wasn't
exist
a
at that
fable.
point.
Well, thank you to the tortoise. We've all learned here that slow and steady wins the race because the scores are getting higher. So we have clerical error with 40 points ending the first round, and we have bardic inspiration with 65 and a slight lead. One thing before we get to the swing round is just want to say please join us on Patreon. Both Melanie and Blake are patrons, and we really appreciate their support. Most of all, you can get all of our episodes ad-free over at Patreon. So if you want to join for as little as $1 a month, you can get the newest episodes ad-free. But we're doing a great thing now, which I can have the guys talk about as well. But we're doing weekly bonuses. So you're getting 4 bonuses every month to get 3 trivia-based bonuses and a crop drop at the end of the month. And we're having a lot of fun writing those, right, guys?
That's right.
Indeed. I'm excited.
Yep. So you get a little bit of our personality. We get a chance to write some questions. We don't get a chance to do that too much anymore because we want to open it up for everyone else to come join us on the show. But please join Blake and Melanie over at Patreon, which you can join at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast.
And let's move right along to the swing round now. What do you have in store for us?
As I said, I'm music guy first and foremost, so this swing round's going to be one-hit wonders. I'll give you some flavor text. You give me the band responsible for the one-hit wonder. All right. Question 1. This duo originally called themselves 2 Tons of Fun before changing the name to better reflect their hit, a staple of gay bars. Question 2. Though most people associate his hit with people bopping their heads in a car, the music video features sexy vampires and gothic cathedrals. Number 3. This 60s ode to hedonism and good times comes to us via a mischievous thief from the musical Cats, although the band took the name from the poetry books that inspired Cats. Number 4. Their big hit is about an alien abduction, and their name uses the wrong collective noun for their species of animal. Question 5. Despite the band claiming otherwise, many suspect their acronym name is a reference to ecstasy. The song's most famous moment is a sample from Andrew Dice Clay. Number 6. After the band's lead singer died of breast cancer in 2014, their sultry hit was used as part of a campaign promoting awareness and self-screening for the disease. Number 7. This individual preferred to sit behind his piano because of his stutter. He used a particular singing style to help him, which became part of his stage name. Question 8. According to Arthur Douglas, the original artist, the song was a feminist anthem critical of men who catcall women. After being covered by a band whose name is derived from their country of origin, it became a hit common at sports games. Number 9. This rap artist has lived up to his name through business investments, as well as inspiring one of Weird Al's most famous songs. And number 10. One of my parents' favorite artists, this man claims to be a Christian in his autobiographical hit about traveling to overcome writer's block, but in reality, he is Jewish.
All right, we have our questions, and we'll be right back and see how many of these we can get.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Okay, all the answers are now locked in from the swing round, and thankfully we haven't become a one-hit wonder yet, but we're going to learn about some pretty famous one-hit wonders here, so let's throw it back to Blake.
We have to have
Gotta
a hit first, Neil. I
was trying to give you a softball. You guys hit it. That's good.
Hey, technically, like Jimi Hendrix and like the Grateful Dead are one-hit wonders, and no one considers them that.
Yeah, true. Good point.
Question 1 was about the duo who originally called themselves Two Tons of Fun and made a staple of gay bars. What's your answer?
Ken and I said, wham.
We said Weather Girls for Raining Men.
Yep, it is Weather Girls. They changed their name. It's always a bad sign when you change your name to have something to do with your hit. That just dooms you right from the start.
Hallelujah.
They also later did a very similar song, except Christmas themed. I believe it's called "Bring Me a Man for Christmas." Again, you're just resigned to fate at that point.
Flurries of
Famously,
men.
Paul Schaefer on that song.
Yep.
It's Raining Men.
Oh, no way.
Question 2. A song that people associate with bopping their heads in a car, but the original music video is about sexy vampires in Gothic cathedrals. What's your answer?
That music video sounded bizarre to us, so we said OMC, but we're not sure.
I believe that this is What Is Love, and it is Hadaway.
Yep, the song that later got drilled into us by Night at the Roxbury. The original video is Hadaway biting girls' necks, and it's quite silly. It is What Is Love by Hadaway.
Ken, we're going to do not great on this.
Not good.
Forgive me if I've told this before. Melanie would know, who's been listening a long time. But for Halloween one year, I wanted to be a Night at the Roxbury guy with a friend of mine in like 6th grade. Bought these suits. We glitterized them with glitter and hairspray and everything. And then I was dressed in the outfit, ready for a Halloween party. And he canceled the day of the Halloween party. So I just went by myself as Chris Kattan.
So you could only thrust upon the
I was just thrusting in
one
the
direction.
just in the corner
if
by
someone
myself.
was by a wall, then you were okay, but otherwise it wasn't going to work.
Question 3. This seemed to give people a lot of problems. This 60 ode to hedonism that takes its name from a character from the musical Cats. What do we have?
We're not sure, but Jeff had a line on this one.
Yeah, so I think this is in Summertime, which is a one-hit wonder I enjoy about hedonism. And I'm fairly certain that's Mungo Jerry, which sounds stupid enough to be the character in Cats.
We had no idea. The only one I could think of was Rum Tum Tugger, so I said Rum Tum Tug McGraw.
And we have a correct answer for clerical error. Since it came out in the 60s, the Cats musical obviously didn't exist, so they took the name from the books by T.S. Eliot, and it is Mungo Jerry's the band within the Summertime.
Of course.
Question 4. Big hit about an alien abduction, and their name uses the wrong collective noun for their species of animals. What do we got?
We had no idea, but we just said the Toadies because we want to give the Toadies a shout out.
Love the Toadies.
Possum Kingdom. That's a great song.
Ken and I love that song. We dance around shirtless to that song.
Based on the animal clue, I was thinking Flock of Seagulls. This song being Iran.
Yep. When they talk about Aurora Borealis coming in view, it's because they have been abducted on a spaceship and can see the Aurora Borealis coming out. It is Flock of Seagulls. The collective noun for a group of seagulls is a colony. Flock of Seagulls is a lyric from a Stranglers song from the 70s.
Every time I hear Flock of Seagulls, I think of the scene in Wedding Singer with the airport attendant who says, "Do you like Flock of Seagulls?" He goes, "You certainly do," or whatever, with his hair.
Fun fact, he doesn't even have that hairstyle in the video for Iran. It became so famous from their other videos and their other stuff, even though they weren't as big.
Ooh, love that. Good fun fact.
Question 5. Many suspect their acronym name is a reference to ecstasy, and they sampled Andrew Dice Clay for the song's most famous moment.
I think it was better when it was remixed into a Kraft commercial. Crumbelievable. We said EMF.
Yeah, I thought it was
unbelievable.
Epson Mad Funkers, I think they say it is, but it's EMF.
Matt is correct. It is Epson. They say it's Epson Mad Funkers, which was a fan club tribute band to New Order. But many suspect their name stands for Ecstasy MFer. It is EMF. Question 6. This seemed to give people trouble. Band's lead singer died of breast cancer, and so the song became a fitting use for a campaign about promoting awareness and self-screening for the disease. What do we got?
We just answered Lou Bega for every one of the rest of these. So. Oh, except for 9. We knew 9. So.
This one, I think we had absolutely zero idea, and we just guessed a one-hit wonder and said 4 Non-Blondes.
Sorry. It's I Touch Myself by the Divinals. She sadly passed away of breast cancer, the lead singer. Chrissy Amphlett is her name, and they used the song as part of a campaign in Australia. Question 7. This individual sat behind his piano because of his stutter, and he used the singing style to help him. What do we got?
We didn't know. Lou Bega.
Again, Lou Bega. We thought that an interesting way of singing would be scatting, so we said the Scat Man. Scatman Carruthers. Is that his full name?
So I don't know what to do this because the full name of the artist is Scatman John.
I
but
don't know,
given
John.
that you have struggled with so much of these, and I feel bad.
They're crushing
Yeah, we're
us.
killing
They
this
don't
round.
need it.
All right.
Keep your pity points.
He had a stutter. He's a classically trained jazz pianist, and he used singing to help deal with it. And he moved to Germany because that's where all the jazz clubs were.
Yeah,
and
home of Lou Bega.
yeah, some dance producer was like, "Your singing style is interesting. Let me put a techno beat behind it," and that's how the song came to be. Scatman.
Pretty sure Scatman Crothers played guitar, Matt.
He's a real guy, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, good
he's a
for
real
me.
guy. Yeah.
Give me those half points again.
No half points.
Nope, no points.
No 2.5 on this one.
As Willy Wonka would say, good day, sir. No points.
And because further just proving this country's not real, this man, Scatman John, also has one of the top 20 best-selling albums of all time by a non-Japanese speaking artist in Japan. He was a huge over there. He's in commercials. Its country makes no sense.
Surprising.
Number 8, the original artist said it was a feminist anthem, got turned into a hit common at sports games. What do we got?
Show me Lou Bega.
We went with Who Let the Dogs Out by Baha Men.
Yeah, I felt so stupid when I learned this. I was like, oh, their name is just where they're from because they're Bahamian. It is Baha Men Who Let the Dogs Out. Number 9, this rap artist has lived up to his name through business investments and inspired one of Weird Al's most famous songs.
Figured this was Chingy.
Oh, so close.
Big fan of Weird Al. White and nerdy would be Chameleonaire.
Yep, Chameleonaire has made a lot of money through business investments and various programs, and he speaks a lot at tech conferences and stuff. It is Chameleonaire with Right and Dirty.
Do?
I can't remember now.
What was
Right
Genie
there,
do?
right,
I like it.
right there,
Right there.
yeah.
And
He was not a one-hit wonder,
Inn,
sadly.
Holiday Inn was also a hit, so I believe he had 2 hits. As a Chingy connoisseur.
Question 10. This man claimed to be a Christian in his autobiographical hit, but in reality he is Jewish.
No, Lou Bega?
Oh, no.
He might be Jewish. I don't know the faith status of Lou Bega. I had no idea here. I thought the song might have been Travelin' Man, which I believe is Ricky Nelson, but I don't think that that's right. But that's what we went with.
All right. I think I led someone astray here because people assumed that it was a much older artist than it is. This is an early 90s big hit. It is Walking in Memphis by Mark Cohn, man who claimed to be a Christian tonight.
No disrespect to Mr. Cohn, but if I have to hear that one more time on any American Idol or any sort of singing contest, I will be walking to Memphis myself. Okay. After the swing round, it looks like the scores aren't going to change too much. Just a little bit more of a lead for Bardic Inspiration, picking up 30 points, bringing their total to 95. And Clerical Error only picking up 10, but still a good effort.
How's that not
Not going to change at all.
I'm just trying to make you feel better. You have 50 points. So
We just got moited.
All right. Hopefully we can do better in the next round.
by a colony of seagulls.
Hopefully we don't have PTSD because we're still talking about one-hit wonders on the next question. Round 2, question 1. Speaking of one-hits, Q Lazarus was a taxi driver who played the demo for her song Goodbye Horses for a director in 1985. The director used the song in his film Married to the Mob, before again using it to greater fame in a creepy clothes-changing montage in what early 90s critical and commercial darling?
We're locked in.
All right. Creepy clothes changing montage. Usually clothes changing montages are fun and have
Fun and flirty.
Yeah, I'm Too Sexy by Right Said
This
Fred.
one's kind of flirty.
Okay.
In some contexts.
Melody, do you have any clue?
I have nothing at all.
Yeah.
Critical and commercial darling.
Yeah, so thinking about early 90s movies that were successful and had critical success.
This is Clinton Unforgiven, right?
Tombstone? I don't remember that. Tombstone.
The famous scene when Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood go to get him, dressed back up for the big revenge. He's trying on outfits, and Morgan Freeman's like shaking his head no and yes.
I love those chaps.
Yeah, I'm afraid we got nothing on this. You want to? We'll say Basic Instinct.
Would you answer this question? I'd answer this question so hard. It's Silence of the Lambs.
Clerical error is correct. It is the song that plays over the scene where Buffalo Bill is trying on various outfits of skin and putting on makeup, and he says, "Would you F me? I'd F me." It is Silence of the Lambs. Round 2, question 2, about another movie I haven't seen. A change for the best. The original Swedish title of what massive best-selling novel translated to Men Who Hate Women? The English translation was released in 2008 and had an acclaimed Hollywood adaptation in 2011.
We're locked in.
So we're looking at a 2008 book, a 2011 film.
Was it Swedish?
The original, I believe the book was, and then it was...
What about The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? That's Swedish, I think.
Could be. I think that book's older than 2008, though. But that would be an acclaimed adaptation, though.
I think it was around 2011, too.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
For all those reasons and the fact that the title is on theme for the subject matter, we also said The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
The original book, I believe, was 2005. It is Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Every chapter in the book begins with a real-world epigraph talking about a statistic about violence or disappearances about women in Sweden.
Wish David Fincher's film would have had 2 sequels. I love that movie, but unfortunately not.
All right. Round 2, question 3. The origin of food. According to one theory, what pasta dish originated from American breakfast rations mixed with water during the Allied liberation of Rome in World War II?
All right, so they're locked in. Pasta dishes, huh?
What about, like, mac and cheese?
Oh,
that seems like a more recent pasta invention, maybe.
Yeah, and I can mix with water. I think I could see that. That makes sense to me, and it's very American. So
very American, not Italian.
Yeah, so let's go with the old mac and cheese.
We're gonna go with something worse. SpaghettiOs.
I might have misled people here. This dish was made in Italy, but it was American soldiers who gave Italians eggs and bacon and mixed with water that eventually became carbonara. This is one of the proposed theories for carbonara.
I love that our thought of American soldiers is they're just, chowing down on SpaghettiOs.
Pounding mac and cheese.
I thought maybe they had like little noodle and red sauce type thing, and they were trying to stretch it, so they mixed it with some water.
Makes sense.
Made a nasty pasta soup.
Whatever they could eat, yeah.
All right. This is going to be the longest question. Round 2, question 4. We have political phrases and African American history. George Washington Williams was a soldier, Baptist minister, member of the Ohio House of Representatives, and historian credited as one of the first to write about black participation in the colonies and the Civil War. What 3-word term did he use to describe the forced labor, torture, and murder he witnessed after visiting the infamous Congo Free State? Many erroneously consider this the first use of the phrase, which has since become common in describing acts of genocide and tyranny.
All right, well, we are going to lock in with a guess here. I feel like this is gonna be like a question that you kind of regret not answering correctly once you hear the answer, but we have a guess at least. So
I concur with everything Ken said. Melanie, do you have any idea?
The only thing I can think of, and it's not extreme enough, but like human rights violation. But
Yeah.
again, doesn't sound quite extreme enough.
Yeah, so like human rights violation times 100 is what we're gonna lock in with, I guess.
okay, we're using another famous 3-word phrase. We don't think fits the category here, but we said, "Oh, the humanity."
Sadly, no correct answers here. So the story is that he actually wanted to go visit the Congo Free State because it was pitched to him as a positive thing, development, and it was not. He wrote a letter to the king at the time of the Congo, King of Belgium, King Leopold II. He used the term crimes against humanity. He had actually previously used the term in one of his books to describe slavery, and other people, like the Republican Party platform in the 1850s, also had, but his is considered one of the most famous uses, and since, of course, the Nuremberg trials sort of made it part of international law.
The humanity was the Hindenburg, right? Is that?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And a stupid movie fact, Samuel L. Jackson plays this man in the live-action Tarzan movie from a couple years ago.
Oh wow.
Why?
Because that takes place in the Congo Free State as the setting, and he plays this man. Fascinating individual, by the way. If you look him up, he ran away to join the army at the age of 14. He enrolled in famous colleges on his own. He's a fascinating man. All right, round 2, question 5. In terrible food puns, Gunkan Maki is sushi designed to look like a tiny what? Their visual inspiration is important to Japanese history since the nation consists of a series of islands.
Okay, they're locked in. Are you a big sushi person?
I am not.
Me either. My initial thought was I've seen sushi, like a sushi boat, like in the shape of a boat. And I think that makes sense as they'd have to travel from island to island.
I was thinking the same thing. Should we be more specific or just boat?
I think we should be as unspecific as possible until required. So we're gonna say boat.
Yeah, we also said boat. We agree with what they said, and I think the con part of Gunkan has something to do with boats as well.
So I did not know the exact translations. I looked it up. Apparently it translates specifically to battleship or warship, but boat or ship is acceptable. Sous ship, terrible food pun.
After 5 questions in the second round, it looks like Clerical Error is going to be picking up 30 points, bringing their total to 80. And Team Bardic Inspiration picking up 20, bringing their total to 115.
All right. Round 2, question 6. Your category is European history. Pope John Paul II's real name is Karl Yusef Wojtyła. He became the first non-Italian pope in 450 years, and he became the first pope to visit his native country in 1979. His visit is credited with inspiring a revolutionary sentiment that snowballed into the first independent union and democratic elections in the Soviet bloc. What country is Karl from?
Locked in. Yep.
Well, that was quick.
Love our popes. I don't know what to tell you.
Big pope guys really over there. I don't think I know. Do you have any idea?
Soviet countries. What is there?
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Uzbekistan.
Yeah, you're looking at Ukraine and Kazakhstan. But we're looking at the first independent trade union and democratic elections. And Karl with a K. That seems almost Icelandic. Would Finland count as being part of the Soviet bloc? No, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm thinking like, what is it? Estonia, Lithuania.
Okay. Lithuania sounds like it could have a democratic election based on nothing. Sure.
I got nothing better.
Okay, let's lock in Lithuania.
My grandmother was Polish, and always hearing about Pope John Paul II, so we're saying Poland.
Clerical error is correct. It is Poland, the trade union of solidarity, and the first. There were elections in the Soviet bloc, but they were not considered democratic. Theirs was the first that was considered like an open and fair election in the late 80s.
I don't know how I could be from Chicago and get a Poland question wrong.
How dare you, really?
Round 2, question 7. Disgusting. The climax of what 2020 blockbuster features Robert Downey Jr. pulling bagpipes, among other objects, out of a dragon's rectum. It is the 4th theatrical film starring the titular character, with the first coming in 1967.
All right, Bardic is locked in. So I know what Robert Downey Jr. did right after he quit the MCU, and that was Dr. Dolittle.
Ew.
And I haven't seen it, and I think I would have remembered this scene had I seen it. So let's say Dr. Dolittle.
Bagpipes ripped from a dragon's anus? Yeah.
I also logged in with Dr. Dolittle. Haven't seen it either, but...
So the film is technically called just Dolittle. I don't know if we should accept that, but I guess it won't matter because you both got it.
He didn't go to medical school to be called
starring
Doolittle.
what titular character?
The climax of what 2020 blockbuster?
Oh, yeah, I'd give points for that, yeah.
Round 2, question 8. The category is fiction no longer. Heinrich Schliemann and Frank Calvert are the two people credited with proving historians wrong by excavating what lost city in 1871 underneath Hisarlik, Turkey?
So, I know it's in Jordan, but I think that's not too far from there. I think Petra was a lost city, and it's always referred to as a lost city, and I did some research on it for a different question I wrote at some point in time. And I know that it was a city that was previously thought to be lost and currently isn't. Do you want to lock in with Petra?
Sure.
Okay.
We are going with Babylon. Mentioned in the Bible. There might have been some dispute about whether it was existent or not. I know the Ishtar Gate, which is Babylon's gate, is in a German museum, so we're saying Babylon.
Sadly, both teams are incorrect. This city was thought by historians to just be part of one of the most famous stories of all time, but later they found that Troy really did exist. People don't know to what extent the Iliad is true about the Greek and Troy War, but for a long time historians thought Troy didn't exist, and then these two used a lot of dynamite, destroyed a lot of old classical architecture, but they found that, yeah, Troy did exist.
And one severed Achilles' heel.
It was just sitting there at the bottom.
There it is.
There it is. He's real.
It's the heel.
All right. Round 2, question 9. Your category is sports. The logo of what Big Four sports team, so NHL, NBA, NFL, and MLB, comes from a Quaquaquaquac transforming mask depicting an eagle, even though their name refers to a different bird.
The name, it seems Native American.
Yeah, I was thinking, and maybe that's just because I live here in Seattle, but Seahawks and Washington has a lot of Native American influences in the art.
Yeah.
And
and
it's kind of looks like that.
The Seahawk is more eagle-like in appearance than, and I believe it's one of the only logos that faces left. Not that that matters, but it is a fact that now you guys know. But yeah, I'm definitely good with locking in with your hometown team that you love and root for every week. I'm sure the Seattle Seahawks.
The Blackhawks also faces left.
I was going to say the Seahawks logo faces right, man.
Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Cut that all out, or don't.
We said the Seahawks as well.
Matt, it's the Eagles logo. I believe it faces to the left. Yeah, when Melanie said she was from Seattle, I was like, great. But yes, it is the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawk I thought didn't exist, but it's a nickname for an osprey. And people have dug up that, the transforming mask. So it has the logo, like it covers up their face, and it opens up like this to expose like a face beneath it. But yep, it depicts an eagle, and they call themselves the Seahawks, though. Both teams are correct.
And the Supersonics weren't a hedgehog. There's a lot to learn.
Round 2, question 10. Your category is 6 degrees of very good boys. Newfoundland dogs excel at water rescue due to their muscular build, thick double coat, webbed paws, and swimming abilities. According to one tale, a Newfoundland rescued what man after he fell off a ship during an important voyage in 1815? Funny enough, one of the most iconic images of this man features him in the Swiss Alps at St. Bernard Pass, a similar breed to the Newfoundland dog.
All right. So we discussed a bunch of earlier explorers. We don't think it was any of the Vikings or anything then. So we're going to lock in with an explorer we know from the era and say Lewis, not Clark. We're going Lewis.
Yeah, thinking about people who would have been all over, potentially even the European continent, and then people who famously took ship voyages in 1815, potentially to exile. We guessed Napoleon.
Oh, it's always Napoleon.
Dynamite.
I have led bardic inspiration astray. It was not an explorer. This is after he was first exiled and was returning back to the European mainland after his exile. And the image of him rearing up on a horse is at the drawing is at the Swiss Alps or St. Bernard Pass. It is Napoleon Bonaparte.
Great poll by Clerical Arrow. They're actually bringing this gap even closer. So you picked up a bunch of points here in the second half of the round, about 40 of them. And you're going to be getting 120 points going into the final round. So you're only 15 points behind Bardic Inspiration, who have 135. So the gap is closed, and it could be anybody's game here in the final round. Matt, one thing I wanted to talk about really quick is over at the Coffee Conglomerate, if someone wants to come get something like like an iced chai or a frappuccino, how much is that probably going to cost someone?
Roughly about $5.
So for $5, you can get one of those drinks, or for $5 a month, you can get a ton of extra content over with us at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. Jeff, you had a really fun time writing the weekly bonuses that we're starting to do here in the new year. And we actually got a lot of great comments about your bonus. People saying that they love the difference in questions and the topics. Are you enjoying writing these new questions?
Very much, yeah. A nice opportunity to mix it up every month. So it's a good time over there.
People love woodworking.
If listeners want to send us their submissions too, you can send us questions that we will do on the Patreon bonuses.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a little bit different. We used to have the question 5 where you could submit it for a normal game. Since we're not really hosting full games, if you want to send us those questions, we're going to incorporate them into our weekly Patreon bonuses. And I know Dean Bratton, for example, I'm going to call you out. You sent a lot of great questions over to us. I'm going to use those on this month's bonus questions. But yeah, come.
They might even inspire a round.
Exactly, they might inspire a round. But yeah, definitely come join us at patreon.com/Triviality Podcasts, and you can get 4 extra bonuses a month.
All right, what do we have for the final round categories?
We have a final round here. Question 1, Shahada, or profession of faith. This is going to be a mythology question. Question 2, Salah, or prayer. This is going to be an architecture question. Question 3, Zakat, or almsgiving. This is a comic book question. Question 4, we have Psalm, or fasting. This is a politics question. And question 5, we have Hajj, or pilgrimage. This will be a religion question.
These are the 5 pillars of Islam. Yeah, are they not?
I believe so. Unless my research is totally wrong, which I wouldn't put past me.
All the wagers are now locked in. We're doing a nice clean 20s all the way down. The other team, Bardic Inspiration, inspired to make some precise bets. So we'll get those as we go. Let's hear the questions.
Question 1 in profession of faith / mythology. The first pillar involves declaring a belief in only one God, therefore making Islam a monotheistic religion. On the other hand, Greek and Roman mythology are polytheistic and feature many gods. Who is the only member of the 12 Olympians to have the same name in Greek and Roman? Question 2, in prayer / architecture. Mosques often feature a mihrab, a domed recess in the wall of a mosque that faces Mecca to help with daily prayer. What is another 5-letter word for this architectural feature? Question 3. In almsgiving, or comic books, in A Serious House on Serious Earth, one of the most acclaimed Batman graphic novels, we see the charity that his villains receive at Arkham Asylum. For example, Two-Face receives treatment to wean him off using a coin and instead use what items to make decisions, which gives him 78 possible outcomes rather than 2. Question 4 in fasting/politics. Obligatory Chicago question. The Fasting Cure is a 1910 nonfiction book that argued for fasting as a cure for cancer and tuberculosis, among other conditions. Its author would go on to win a Pulitzer Prize, run for governor of California as the Democratic nominee, and inspire several new laws through his fiction and nonfiction, such as a code of ethics for journalists. Who is he? And question 5, in pilgrimage or religion. The final pillar involves a pilgrimage to Masjid al-Haram, or the Great Mosque of Mecca. Within the mosque are Safa and Marwa, 2 small hills that Muslims travel between 7 times as part of the pilgrimage. Marwa is the Arabic translation of Moriah, a mountainous region in the book of Genesis. What does God ask Abraham to do at this site?
All right, we have our questions. We will deliberate these, and we'll be right back and find out who will be today's cream of the crop.
All the answers are now locked in. Let's throw it back to Blake for the questions, and we'll see how these teams did.
Question 1 in the mythology and profession of faith. Who is the only member of the 12 Olympians to have the same name in Greek and Roman?
I was digging deep in the recesses of my mind here, and I seem to remember I looked up once the origin of Uranus, and I think it was the same in both Greek and Roman. So
We wagered 15, and we went with Apollo.
So Uranus, I believe, is not one of the 12 Olympians. I believe he's a Titan or a older god of the sky, I believe. But among the 12 Olympians, it is Apollo. As far as I can tell, the reason for this is Rome conquered Greece, and so Rome took the Greek gods and added them to their existing gods, and they didn't have a equivalent for Apollo, so they just took the name. Where the other ones, they changed their names and took their identities and added them to their existing Roman gods of Neptune and Pluto and so. Question 2, what is another 5-letter word for this domed recess?
for this one, we said
niche.
20 points.
Oh. We wagered 5, and I couldn't even think of a 5-letter word, so domes. It's 5.
Jeff's team is correct. It is niche or niche. This is where the term carve out your own niche comes from.
Oh.
And in a lot of churches, they typically put statues in these or like some sort of feature. But in mosques, it's like empty, and that's supposed to show pray this direction towards Mecca as part of your daily prayer. Question 3. What is the item that Two-Face uses in A Serious House on Serious Earth to help him make decisions now?
This one was the toughest, I think. Well, we got the first one wrong, so that was probably the toughest. But we were trying to think of something with 78 possible outcomes. I don't know how many cards there are in a tarot deck, but we said tarot.
Yeah, we wagered 30. We bounced around a lot of ideas, but ended up on the same thing, tarot deck.
There are 22 major arcana, which are hangman, so-and-so, and 56 minor arcana, making a 78-card tarot deck, which is what he uses. He ends up basically, because, again, there's 78 different options, he becomes basically paralyzed and can't do anything, including going to the bathroom, even. Question 4. Who is this man who wrote The Fasting Cure and would go on to many other acclaims, including a Pulitzer Prize?
We thought maybe this is the person who wrote The Jungle as well, since there was a Chicago angle, and we said Upton Sinclair.
Oh, that's a good one. I just thought Fasting, grapes of wrath. I don't know. Steinbeck. We wager 20. Not good for us.
Yeah, I was sneaky and didn't mention his most famous work, which is a fiction book set in a meat packaging plant in Chicago. The Jungle. This is Upton Sinclair, who would go on to many things, including arguing that fasting was a cure for basically any disease that you could think of. The book has obviously been ripped apart in modern times, so this is all obviously not true. Question 5 in the category of pilgrimage. What does God ask Abraham to do at the site of Moriah, which is the mountainous region in the book of Genesis that Muslim scholars or Islamic scholars believe is the translation of Marwa, a hill in the Great Mosque of Mecca?
Just the small favor of
sacrificing
killing his son.
Isaac. Yeah.
Yeah, we wagered 10 and also said killing his son Isaac.
Correct. Technically, there's actually debate on this. In Christianity, it's definitely Isaac, but Islamic scholars actually argue about whether he's asked to kill Isaac or Ishmael, who's much more important to the Islamic faith. But whatever it is, he asks Abraham to sacrifice his son at Moriah. Both teams are correct.
After all the questions, it looks like it all came down to wagers, which sometimes it does in the final round. Bardic Inspiration is going to be picking up 30 points, bringing their final score to 165. But today's cream of the crop are Clerical Error picking up 60 points, bringing their total to 180.
You're a winner, baby.
Wow. Didn't think that was going to happen.
Squeak that one out there, Jeff.
Squeaked it out. Great game, both teams. Great job. Great job, guys, here in the studio, coming back here at the end. And Melanie and Matt, really strong showing the whole game. Melanie, thanks for joining us today. Any shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you go?
Shout out to my boyfriend Ben. He listens to the podcast with me all the time.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
What's going on?
Well, thanks for joining us, Melanie. We appreciate it, and for you being a Patreon supporter, too. It was so nice to meet you and have you on today's game.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
And Blake, thank you so much for all these questions. A lot of great extra fun facts that weren't even included in the question. Any shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you go today?
Shout out to the website I write for, Merry Go Round Magazine, where I occasionally write about board games these days. And shout out to my parents and my gaming groups.
Awesome. Well, we'll be sure to check out all of your writing. And Ken, before we go out, while people check out Merry Go Round, who else can we say thank you to?
Oh, we just love Airwave Media, our network. You can find them at airwavemedia.com. Check out other great podcasts such as How About Movie Therapy, The Film Vault, and All Creatures.
All creatures. Well, speaking of creatures, we have a lot of fun creatures in the studio today. And for all the fun creatures out there listening, thank you to Melanie and Blake and Matt and Jeff and Ken. My name was Neil, and that was another episode of Triviality.